Now then, people, it's your All Leeds TV. As you can see, I'm not on my own. There's quite a few of us tonight. We've got the lovely Oscar, Casper the Friendly Ghost. I don't know why he just looks really pale tonight. We've got, of course, Jack and Tash. I'm trying to think of something funny to say about them, but I'm all out of ideas. And of course, we've got Championship royalty in Benjamin Bloom. Yes. So we thought we would have a chat about Leeds United, obviously the current form, the great performance at the weekend, and then have a look at what's ahead. And that's why we brought Benjamin in to give us his thoughts on the chasing pack and the fixtures ahead. Before we do get into the video, please do check out the Retro Hut. You can get now then people. There you go, Tash.
I've been waiting. And
tonight as well, you lucky viewers have the chance to win 2 tickets to the centenary night at the Irish Club with the centenary Whites, and of course Paul Wilson, the creator of the King of Ellen Road, and many more chants. I think he did Marching On Together as well. I'm not so sure.
He's done a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for yelling. Try that one in there.
Yeah. So 2 free tickets. So get your comments in, and we'll select the best at the end. And you can win 2 tickets to that at the Irish Centre on the 20th of March. So make sure you check that out. Even if you don't win the tickets, make sure you go along. So let's have a chat then. I guess I'll direct to the crazy couple, Jack and Tash, and talk to me about Saturday. What a performance! I mean, you were lucky enough to be at the South Stand when Ayling scores that sumptuous volley. Talk to me about it. How good was that?
It's one of them things, when you actually. Well, yeah, it just actually left me speechless, actually, when you're seeing that ball come across and you're thinking, hold on a minute, how's that going? And you see Ayling run in and then he hits this volley, hits the bar, goes in, and I was actually like, that's not really just happened, has it? And he was like, he run off and they let his hair down. He looked like Benjamin when his hair all just went down like that. But it was just one of them things. We need to put him up front, don't we? He cannot stop scoring, man.
I know.
It was what we needed at that time. 4 minutes in, Huddersfield, we needed that goal. We needed just.
But that's the thing. He's got 2 early goals now, hasn't he? And it's kind of the pace for the rest of the game then as well.
Yeah, the
character as well.
So much there, and he just run off. And I mean, he had his chicken one last week. This week he just looked like he was going to be running 2:35 at Cheltenham on Tuesday, didn't he? Let out there and just went on a map.
He did the guitar as well.
He did do guitar as well, yeah. But no, I mean, it was just what we needed to settle down and just control the game as we did. And it was a fantastic performance all through, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was unreal. And of course, Oscar Patrick Bamford managed to score as well. I bet you're cursing because we know how much you love Tyler Roberts.
Fuming, mate. Fuming.
But do you know what, though? Do you know what I was buzzing with Oscar? Was the fact that he celebrated like he meant it. There was none of this. It was just, he went absolutely wild, didn't he? What are your thoughts on the game, Oscar?
Yeah, I think it was just a standard game for us, really. I thought second half, we really turned up another level second half. We were a bit slow to start off with. Not stop after the Ayling goal. Huddersfield had a bit of 20-minute spell, but we came through it. Thought we defended really, really well. I think Derek has to take great credit. He's coming again. Out of nothing. Obviously, KP getting injured. He's done a solid job for us. Every single time he's come in, he's done a solid job for us. And you say about Patrick Bamford, I think it was quite telling, that the way he celebrated. I just had that feeling that maybe words were said after that Millwall goals. There were 2 Millwall goals from Bielsa. I certainly can't imagine him being too pleased with that kind of response off Bamford. But yeah, no, it Let's not get too carried away on Bamford. He has to continue this now. He has to, I've been massively praising off Bamford this season, but last couple of games been a little bit gone back to stuff like last season kind of thing. But yesterday, fair enough, gets himself a goal. Johnny on the spot, he's tapping, you know what I mean. But good bit of movement. Great header off Ben White though. What a save it was for the Ben White header though. Great delivery off Pablo. So all round, it's a good goal. Set piece goal as well. It was good off us yesterday. Nice and professional. Yesterday.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for, right? I mean, Ben, did you get a chance to see the game? Did you? I mean, I'm not sure where you were this weekend. I know you like to get about. You were lucky enough to obviously be at the Hull game, and we'll touch on that because you were there, and that game was absolutely unreal. But did you get a chance to see the game at the weekend?
I've seen the highlights back. I was at Charlton versus Borough, which was Bowyer versus Woodgate, so it does have a bit of a Leeds angle. But going back to the Bamford celebration, if you look at the context when you guys are playing Millwall, you're in a crappy run, everyone's on Bamford's back, and the emotions came out then. But look at it now. People have stepped up. Like you said, Ayling scored in like 3 games. Klitsch scored at Borough, didn't he? So people around him have all stepped up. The pressure is off him compared to that Millwall game, and I think that plays into it a little bit. Although he does still only seem to be scoring from 1 yard, but Bielsa loves him. He's going to end the season. But no, I mean from the outside, I predicted a Leeds win in this one. Huddersfield aren't up to much, and I mean the pattern of these games from the last ones is you're dominating, you're not conceding any goals. If you remember back earlier in the season, it was the best defence by an absolute mile, and it looks like you've kind of evened things out, got over the hump. And honestly, from the outside, it's looking like a procession for Leeds and West Brom at the top now.
Yeah, man. I hope you're right. I mean, Leeds United fans, I don't think we'll quite be on that until Charlton at home at the the last game of the season. I actually seen the other day that obviously it's the centenary year, and the Charlton at home game will be Bielsa's 100th game in charge. So, well, that shows you don't watch my videos.
No, I did. It was just that bit when I fell asleep.
But yeah, what will that be like? Will we see? I mean, I think he's too long in the tooth now. But obviously, them clips of Bielsa at Newell's giving it Newell's Carajo. I don't think we'll quite see that at home, against Charlton. But if promotion is to happen and it'll be his 100th game, I mean, wow, what a time to be a Leeds United fan right now.
I'm trying to figure out how to get on the pitch.
I mean, me myself personally, I think it must be one of his biggest achievements in his managerial career.
Yeah.
If he actually does this with Leeds. I mean, the whole point of him coming to Leeds, I think, he looked at the history, he looked at what Leeds United was, the challenge, everything about Leeds United. He would not come to Leeds United without that history and what Leeds United is about, and to get that club back.
He said he likes to know about the city and everything before he goes to a club. So. And
I don't think it will be the thing that it'll be the proudest moment of his life for me. I think it will, obviously, apart from, I don't know, I think it'll be just a big thing for him. I do, and I think he'll just love it. He will.
Yeah. I mean, it will be amazing. I mean, just to canvas opinion, I know we're all quite different at All Leeds TV, and I think that's why it works. That's what I tell myself anyway. But where are you guys at? I we'll get Benjamin's opinion on this, but I can't. Surely Leeds can't mess it up from here. Not even Leeds can mess it up from here.
I feel like this season is completely different to last season. I think last season we had that really bad run in December, and not December, sorry, Easter. Whereas we've had it in December, so I think we've had that early on, and then we've had that big speech by Bielsa, and that has got everyone motivated. And we feel like how we are at the start of the season. I think we're like that again. We've got that cockiness back where we're like, you don't really mean anything to us. We can easily outplay you, and I think we've got that mentality back. And I don't think they feel that much pressure anymore. I think that's released.
Can you look at the minute that team? Can you see them getting beat?
you can't see them getting frustrated anymore.
You can't see them getting beat at the minute. I cannot see that team getting beat at the minute by anyone. I can't.
No.
I just think mentally, I think they're just so strong now. You know, the last, I mean, it should be 6 without conceding, but for obviously Kiko at Brentford, what he did, but it should be 6 without conceding, 6 wins without conceding, which at this time of the year is, no one does this. It's unbelievable, isn't it? You know, and now we are in actually 5 without conceding, 5 wins.
I think we're the only team that's really good run.
You know, we're in form, we're on run, and I think we're going. I believe we're going to do it. I do.
Yeah. What about you, Oscar? What say you?
Next 2 games, massive. Next 2 ones are the big ones. Cardiff, Fulham. Yeah, obviously we've still got a load of games after that, but the next 2 are really going to be telling. You know, the big tests. You know, Cardiff away. No matter how good we are, it's always going to be a test. That it's always going to be a bit of a bastard of the game, that one, if you like, because obviously Neil Harris, got a bit of history with Neil Harris, haven't we? A couple of Cardiff players got a bit of history with. So that's going to be a tough one. Obviously, it's going to be set piece after set piece after set piece, cross after cross after cross. You know, we know what Cardiff's going to do against us. We're going to have 75, 8% of the ball. They're just going to try and lever it up to the big striker collateral, aren't they? So we've got to deal with that. Obviously, Fulham will be a totally different challenge. You know, Fulham, they're probably the main contender at the minute, probably the only contender, if you like. That's going to be a big one as well. But I think the thing is, with this Fulham team, obviously their next 2 games are Brentford at home, us away, obviously. You know, how this Fulham team will do in the big game, when it's playing someone who's of equal kind of quality to them, where it's going to be a case of other teams attacking them kind of thing. It's massive, these next 2. The next 2 are going to be really telling whether we can, A, finish in the top 2, or B, win the title for me.
Yeah, I mean, just obviously that's our opinions. We all think we're going up. Elliot Whitehead in the comments has said this should just be a Benjamin Bloom stream. The rest of you are delusional. Well, in response to that, I guess I asked Benjamin. I guess I'm going to ask Benjamin if he's the same as us. Does he think Leeds are going up?
Well, I'd like to follow Tash and Jack's and Oscar's excellent, not deluded comments at all. Tash is right. It is totally different to last season. And you need to look at the opponents as well, because at this time last season, if you wind your mind back, Norwich were winning 8 on the trot at this point. Sheffield United were incredible, whether you like it or not, as Yorkshire. West Brom were a nuisance. They weren't good, but they had Gale and Rodriguez. They were an absolute nuisance. And Villa were winning 10 on the trot. And compare that to what's going on this season. Even I think Leeds can drop off points per game wise coming up to the end of the season. I don't think there's an opponent there. No. West Brom are well coached and the recruitment's been good. And Bilic could be one of a few to do it first time in his first season in the Championship, which is quite sort of rare. But who do you see, especially given, like you said, Fulham's games? And I mean, take this for a scenario. I'm at Fulham's game on Friday night against Brentford. If Fulham, for example, draw, Leeds are going to go into this game against Cardiff, and I think the gap's already 7, so it would go down to 6. So then it could go up to 9, and you're only 6 games to go, and then it starts to get to the point where Fulham are going to need to win every game, and Leeds are going to need to lose them. I agree.
We played him on Wednesday as well.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, but it could be irrelevant. I agree with Oscar that Cardiff is a worse game than Fulham, I think, because, like you said, you can be Beelzebub for 80 minutes and lose 3-0 against Cardiff because Will Vaulks will sling one in the box and Morrison will head one in or whatnot. So it's about Cooper and White and just the defensive concentration in that. But you're gonna dominate the ball. I personally think it will be done before the last 3 games, but traditionally. It's going that way, isn't it? You can't see this. You can't see this from the outside. You can't see this from the outside. Look at the maths. Look at the numbers. It all stacks up to that. I actually think Barnsley and Charlton are not very nice games at the end because traditionally those bottom 6 teams, they do weird things on the last. You wouldn't put it past Leeds already being up and Charlton winning at Leeds on the last day to stay up or something of that. You lot doing Lee Bowyer a favour on the on the last day, but you wouldn't want to go into that last game not already promoted. But come on, look with Fulham's running, Forest have dropped off. Brentford are Brentford, and they look like Real Madrid one game, they look like Ipswich the next, don't they? I genuinely think it will be done either. Well, if it's 6 points, it'll be 2 games before, and it's 7 at the moment, isn't it? So, although you'd all like to do it at Derby on Derby away on the second last game, wouldn't you?
Leeds are falling apart. Because
their spyglasses online.
At the end of last season, when we're right next to the away fans, so when they're singing that, oh my god, I'm not afraid to admit I cried. And hearing that, so I'd love to just sing that back.
It broke all of that. So for me, that's the place I'd love to do it. Derby.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out Sam LUFC, who's just donated $4.99 on the super chat. Says, love the channel, guys. Great talk content week in, week out. So thank you very much for that, Sam.
Thank you.
Just on what you're saying there about the chasing pack, I was listening to some I think it was last week, and one thing that stuck out, it was quite mad that in the 4 round of fixtures prior to this weekend, from Forest down to Derby, which was 10 teams, I think there was a total of 40 games. There'd only been 7 wins by them 10 teams. And even this weekend, we won a game at West Brom are drawing, Swansea are drawing, I think Preston got beat, Fulham draw, Bristol City draw. Obviously, they play each other. But it is mad. I don't know if it's the standard of division. Maybe it's nowhere near as good as last year. I'm not sure. But yeah, it is mad. I think just because everything that always seems to happen at Leeds, with Brentford putting Chef Wednesday to the sword, which I was absolutely buzzing about because I can't stand Monk, so I think it's brilliant. Who knew anyway that lambasting your players when you're in a relegation dogfight would work? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what else he thought he was going to get from that. Basically calling him out in public. But anyway, that's Chef Wednesday. That's another matter. I just wanted to get that in on Monk. But yeah, I think Brentford, great result. And I look at them and I worry. But then I think, there's 11 points, It's a massive gap. Oh, where's Oscar gone?
He's gone, he's back.
You all right, mate?
It's all right, guys.
Big shout out Johnny J as well, another super chat. He says, nice to have Benjamin Bloom on the show. He's Leeds and he knows he is. If we beat Fulham, we will. He says, if we beat Fulham, we will go up at home to Stoke, a draw at home to Barnsley. Benjamin, obviously, last week you were lucky enough to be at Hull. And for me, it was one of the standout performances of the season. I think that third goal that Tyler Roberts scored, it was absolutely peak BLs. Talk to me about that, mate. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was at your first game of the season against Bristol City. And it had the air of that game because it was just, from minute one, attack. You had the ball the whole game. Grant McCann tried bits and bobs, he's moving his system about to try and get in Bielsa's head. Like you said, I think it was Tash said, the early goal obviously really helps, but he just looks so much calmer than a few weeks ago now. And even if the early goal's not coming, I was sat in the Hull stand, and apparently about 7,000 other Leeds fans were. This guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. This guy looks around at me and he's kind of staring at me, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" And he looks at me and he's like, "I'm Leeds," and I'm like, "Okay, we'll keep." But no, the third goal, and I have to credit there's a Hull fan sat in front of me, did exactly what I did when it went in, because look, I'm a football fan at the end of the day, and funnily enough, actually, as it went out and they got the overload and they broke the press, and I think, was it Costa went down the right? My brain went, if they score from this is utterly brilliant, because normally when that happens, someone misses the chance or whatever, and then it comes in, and the whole fan did exactly the same thing as me. As it hit the net, I just went, "What a goal!" And he did the same. So there was acknowledgement from neutrals like me and from home fans. The best bit about the whole thing is Stuart Dallas. Name me another left back in the league I know who doesn't just boot that down the channel, and he does a little scoot pass over, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, best I've been to a ton of games. I've seen virtually every team this season. That's the best goal I've seen this season. Ridiculous, yeah.
Well, I'd say myself, personally, he's my player of the year, Stuart Dallas. I think him or Klitsch is so underrated, is Stuart Dallas, and how he's come on again under Bielsa, the same as Klitsch. Then again, a lot of the players, how they've come on under Bielsa it's amazing, isn't it? Just a testament to what he is as a coach.
Well, and if you look at how small a squad Bielsa keeps, someone like Dallas allows him to do that. Because let's be honest, left back, right wing, left wing, and centre midfield as well. So when you have had injuries and you sort of you've got Ben White covering for Phillips because Forshaw's not around and Dallas playing everywhere and Berardi, they've really stepped up. But what it does just go to prove is that when you have this crazy manager who's so on pattern of play, they can all go anywhere, can't they? They frankly could, apart from maybe Klitsch, who would have to play central midfield. Cooper's not going to play anywhere else other than centre half. He could get left back, I guess, couldn't he? But they can all go anywhere, and it's real total football. You need to enjoy this.
I
think what's changed at the minute as well is that we seem to just be striking it rather than like walking the ball in, and I think that's made a lot of difference. As soon as we started trying to do that the last game, it was like
a Hull.
No.
What last game?
If we just play. Wow, my mind, right. So when we was like dominating Huddersfield and then as soon as we started trying to walk it in again, it just weren't happening. And then
well, of course, the cliche is you try to score the perfect goal, but you scored the perfect goal against Hull, so you don't need to do it anymore. Stick your foot through it,
Just to interject while I remember Jasbia Baines, another super chat. People put that in. I want to make sure they get the shout out. Thank you very much for that, sir. We've had some more as well. Let me just get these reeled off while you were just talking. Bry Hilton says, "Great show, guys. Love your screaming Tash when." Love your screaming Tash when. Prasad Vindala, I hope I pronounced that right. He's also given us a super chat as well, just shouting out the channel. So thank you everyone for that. Having Benjamin, what you say? Sorry,
Daniel as well. Daniel.
Oh, has there been another one?
Look it.
Yeah.
Love the content, guys. I really think this is our time.
Yeah. This is our time. Surely it is. So let's have a look then. I guess what's coming up for Leeds United. Look, I said a couple of weeks ago, I remember getting a bit of a dog's abuse for it, really, to be fair. After Wigan it was, because I was saying how Leeds had the best record against teams in the bottom half. We had the most teams in the bottom half to play. And people, because Wigan was still fresh in the memory, were very much like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. We lost to Wigan. Yes, that was one game. It was in isolation. On paper, we were the best team. Again, we got the best points haul against teams in the bottom half. And like you say, you look at them fixtures and the fixtures that are coming up for the other teams are a lot more difficult. And how do we see Fulham Brentford going? Because like Benjamin mentioned, on Friday, they'll drop points there and it just adds even more to that Cardiff game, doesn't it? So how do we see that game going? I guess I'll ask Oscar. Oscar, how do you see that going, fella?
Fulham Brentford.
Yeah.
I just think Brentford in that game. I just think Fulham don't really play with a defensive midfielder. Harry Arse is the most defensive-minded midfielder. I just think Scott Parker, the way he set up Fulham this season, they play pretty nice football. Get Cavallero, Knockout involved, Kearney involved, etc. But they're very naive for me. They're a very, very naive team to watch. They defensively not particularly aware. Of what they need to do. Not very organised at the back, and you just think Benrahma, Mbuemo, Watkins can cause absolute havoc. And if Brentford have Janssen back, I can't see anything other than Brentford winning that game.
Yeah, Benjamin, obviously you're the Championship oracle. You can speak a lot more than knows. How do you see that game going? Because Brentford win for us would be huge.
if it was at Brentford, I think it would be a different story because Brentford always dominate the ball there. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Brentford haven't been in good form, but then they stuck 5 past Wednesday. But then, as you point out, Wednesday have been stinking the place out for a good 6 or 8 weeks now, I think, isn't it? In the Championship, if you have Mitrovic, you can win any game. So there's always that as well. I agree with Oscar that it hasn't quite got the pattern of play going. You'd say that Fulham maybe have superior individuals than Brentford. A few Brentford players are getting the Fulham team. Really, really difficult one to get. You can see it being a scoring draw, though, can't you? You know, and I mean, from a Leeds point of view, someone's going to drop points, and then it's in your hands for the Fulham game. On the, I can see Fulham winning it though, but then it's in your hands. But then it's another rival, even though Brentford they're down 4th. They're so far back though, aren't they? You know, I think you guys, you want it done and you want it done now, but it's gonna get done. It may not be Friday night the keynote. You just got to go to Cardiff and defend all those long throws and then deal with Fulham on Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think regardless of how that result goes, I guess I'll get Tash and Jack's opinion. Look at the run we were on prior to Cardiff earlier on in the season. What was it, 11 unbeaten at the time? We're 3-0 up against Cardiff. I was in Portugal at the time thinking, well, lads, I can't believe I brought you away. I'm fuming I'm not at Ellen Road. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm glad in Portugal because obviously it was 3-all. So do we owe? Obviously, we owe them one, but how do you see Cardiff going, Tash and Jack? I mean, I'm a little bit nervous for it, but I was for Huddersfield, and that was shouldn't have been because we put them to the sub. But I think it's just because promotion's there. You know, we can almost touch it. What are your how are your feelings for Cardiff?
Me personally, out of all the games that we got left, this one's the trickiest one. Cardiff away. That is the one that I think we could get beat. It's not good. It's not a great place for us. South Wales, 12:30 on a Sunday. I don't know. I'm not so optimistic about this game on Sunday. But then again, we've still got to go to South Wales. Got to go bleeding Swansea, haven't we?
Swansea, yeah.
Which that's going to be another hard one. But I think the 2 Welsh games.
I don't think Swansea will be hard. I think Cardiff will be there.
I don't think the 2 Welsh games will be the hardest games we've got left.
I think it's all like football. It's all about mentality, isn't it? So I think one of the biggest thing is like the fact that we went 3-0 up and then it was 3-3. They've got that hanging over their head, and we've seen in the past at Leeds like that can affect us. So it depends how they take it on. If they've still got this attitude that they've had against recent teams, then we'll be all right. But and we've got. It depends if Phillips is back as well, and then we've got a different goalkeeper, so you know it's not exactly the same. And I don't really know much about Cardiff, if I'm honest.
They got 3 goals against us, didn't they? Went 3-0 down.
I don't know how they done.
You know, it's but yeah, the 2 Welsh games are the ones that I think we could drop points in. The other ones I don't fear anyone, but them 2 games away.
Cardiff
and I think.
Team,
I think the key thing is like we can. I know it might sound, but we can afford to drop points. You know.
I was gonna say that, Joe. I think if you sorry to dive in. If you look at this, given how slow the pace is for I mean, we'd normally be looking at 90, 92 points, 2 points per game for the title, and then you look back at Fulham, who are on 64. 9 to go, so 27 on to, you know, the most they can even get is 91. So something like 85 or maybe even lower. And then you look, Leeds have got 71. So you're looking at 13, 14 points, 5 wins, a couple of draws. So you're right, big picture. And this is where you Leeds are terrible because you start panicking at the first thing of everything going wrong. Yeah, you can.
Points. It's how we react as fans and how the tension builds and then how the Leeds players are affected by that. That is the only like bad side of like dropping points, because other than that, it wouldn't bother any other team really. Like, but it is how everything reacts.
It's sort of,
that butterfly effect.
It filters through everywhere feels. I mean, you talk, like you say, with 27 points left to play for. What do you reckon, Benjamin? 13 we need? 14?
14 would get you to 85, and that's with
27.
Yeah, so but this, I totally get it, and Leeds is a special case in this regard. And I was gonna ask, well, no, you can afford to absorb defeat, providing the whole of Leeds doesn't panic, which they will, obviously. I was going to ask you lot, what happens, guys? What happens? I don't know. You beat Cardiff. You come into this Fulham game. Lights are on. 36,000 marching on together. And Tom Kearney bangs one in from 30 yards after 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Just
we're playing as well, though. If we like lose because we're playing really bad, then it does get really hectic. But if we've played well, and like it depends on ref as well. I mean, like it depends who the finger points at. Then.
Yeah, but I think the point is here. It's like we're talking about Cardiff, but if Fulham actually come Welland Road and beat us, then our Leeds fans going to react to that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like they might not react that bad depending if like how we are playing that game. Like if we've lost, but we played really, really well and couldn't really do much, like it just weren't going for us. We have them games where you think, just get in the goal.
Fulham aren't Norwich, because I was at your game against Norwich last season, and you'll admit that was a bit of a shock to everyone. We thought, here go Leeds for promotion. Norwich turned up. And they were excellent, weren't they? And I was at the Sheffield United one as well, and that was more the pattern that Tash was talking about: dominate. Basham arriving, and you lose 1-0. I don't see Fulham turning up in their current state. Maybe in 12 months' time, and a bit more development, they might. They're not going to turn up. No one's going to turn up and dominate Leeds. No one's been able to since Norwich did. About 14 months ago or whenever it was this time last year. So,
and you haven't got a leader behind. So, like last year it was Sheffield. We haven't got that, I think, dominant team
just to jump in, Johnny J as just another super chat. Fulham have 6 very hard-looking games in their next 7. West Brom have 4 similarly hard games. We really only have 1 or 2. The gap will stay. We've also got as well, just another chat from Jay Coyle says, big fan of Benjamin Bloom and all Leeds TV. Keep up the good work, guys. So thank you so much for them guys that are sending across the super chats. It really is appreciated. And watch this space as well. We have some exciting interviews. We're out with a shopping list at the minute, getting some better equipment. So watch this space. And maybe Oscar won't look like a ghost. I'm only joking. So yeah, I mean, look, things are really, really positive. I think what we'll do is get some questions in from some of the guys watching. Unless there's anything pressing anyone wants to discuss. Ahead of
just one thing I want to add to about the Fulham game. Benjamin's alluded to it about Tom Kearney, people like that. Tom Kearney, Mitrovic, all those kind of players. When you have players like that on the pitch, let's not make any mistake about it. Fulham, have that quality. It doesn't matter how badly they play. Mitrovic all season's got 22 goals, which is quite miraculous in a team like this. He can produce one moment and it's the game's changed. So can't get too carried away. Still for me about getting through these next 2. For that reason, we can go 9 points ahead of Fulham, but if we lose that game, the mentality changes. That's what it's all about. Last season we went 3 points ahead of Sheffield United with 4 games to go. Remember last season against that Sheffield Wednesday game? When we won 1-0, Sheffield United dropped points. Secretly, I never said it on the video. No one ever said it on the video. We all thought it was done then. Let's be honest. We're 1-0 against Wigan. He thought it was done against a 10-man Wigan team. So you never ever know at this level. That's one thing I want to add to. Sorry to bring it down a bit, but there's still work to do.
I always believe.
Yeah.
I think I know Oscar said none of us said it on video, man. I was saying it's our time after game 1 last season.
You're banned.
I got absolutely honestly. Now when I do my videos, even with 9 games to go on in my head, I think we're home and dry. I still get certain people in the comments are going, "Just say it, Joe. It's our time." And I really am dying. I am dying to say it, but yeah, we'll see. So Neil Murray, we'll ask some questions, guys. So please get your questions in. Of course, you have a chance of winning them 2 tickets as well. Let's have a look. Brian, I'm watching Benjamin Bloom in the past while live on All ECB now as well. The chances. I'm just looking for some questions, guys. Little Chesney says, so I'll ask this question to you guys. I know Benjamin mentioned it earlier. There are talks of wanting to get promotion at Derby. Surely promotion on home soil would be more preferable. What say you guys? What do you think?
No, Derby away. Derby away. I want to do it. I actually want to celebrate in the Pride Park, whatever they call that bloody stadium that they have. That and just jump up and down like they did at our place. I actually want to do it there. That's it.
I don't know though. Being at home would be nice, but then where we are, we can't really run on the pitch. So. Get it well out of out.
I'll drop you down like that, lift it over like that down.
We've got another one, so I guess we'll ask this to Benjamin, and then we'll canvass it out. LUFC Lewis asks, who will go up, Benjamin? So I think you obviously Leeds. Who are the other 2?
It looks very, very much like Leeds and West Brom will go automatically, doesn't it? Playoffs. I've got a weird hankering for Nottingham Forest, just on the basis that their manager, I reckon, could really stink out a playoff game, not concede it. Remember how Huddersfield did it a few years back? They barely, I think they didn't even score from open play and won the playoffs, didn't they? No, you can see someone like Fulham coming a cropper against someone like Forest, but like you've all said, there's no chasing pack. We've got no idea who's going to be in that 6th place. You know, Bristol City, Millwall is still in it, and you know, so it could be. It likely would be Preston, but I wouldn't have thought they'd win through the playoffs. Brentford remind me of, for older fans, my team Ipswich in the late 90s. We'd play lovely football all season, and then we'd come up against Sam Allardyce, Alan Kirbishley, Howard Kendall in the playoffs. They'd kick us out, and that's what might happen. That's what might happen to Brentford. But just take your emotions out. Look at the maths and look at the probability of the top 2 not being the top 2 at the end of the season, and it's very, very low, isn't it? But Forest, I think, for the playoffs.
Who wins the league, Ben?
Do you care?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
would have to look at West Brom's fixtures. I guess your favourites now, but come on, surely you don't care where you go up, how you go up, what position you go up. Get up there, take that TV money, get some more of that NFL money in there, keep Bielsa in there, and believe you me, teams that go into the Premier League, we're really getting ahead of ourselves now. Teams that go into the Premier League in year 3 of a project with a solid pattern of play tend to do quite well.
Yeah, Wolves. Look at Wolves.
To be honest, I've already booked my Champions League flights. That's what it is. But yeah, where are you going? Oscar, I mean, for me, it is West Brom and Leeds, and I think Brentford could do it, to be honest. But what about you, Oscar?
And I can see what Benjamin's saying about Forest. Forest got a really good record against the big teams. They've got something. He knows won at Fulham away. Took points off West Brom as well. They are a bit of a threat in that kind of situation, Forest. But over 3 games, I would have thought they'll get found out somewhere along that line. They might get to the final, but somewhere along that line, I just think when they play the football they do, I'm not saying they're a bad team as such, but very defensive minded, very reliant on Molly, grabbing. I look at Brentford and think, with Brentford, if they get Janssen back into the team, because I think the big factor with Brentford has been drop off has been Janssen going out injured. Obviously, that's a big factor for them. I can't see whoever's getting into that 6th place. I just don't think has the quality to win them. To be honest, I think if it's Blackburn, I've seen Blackburn mentioned in the comments there on a decent run. Preston, Millwall, Bristol City. I just don't see enough from them to even win the semi-final. So for me, Brentford Forest final, I'd have thought, and I think Brentford would probably win on the day. That's some personal opinion on that one.
Yeah, I've got another question for Jack and Tash from Stringer Beads. Our good friend Rob, he says, look, just to put us all at ease, obviously there's a lot of stuff going around about KP at the minute. He wants to know if you got an answer from KP's agent, and is KP good and well? Is he all good?
Yeah, we got an answer, and KP's good and well. It's all bullshit all going around. KP's not.
But no, it's not, he's just not out for the rest of the season. He's not
out for the rest of the season. He's got a bit of a niggle, but he's not out for the rest of the season, as people are thinking. So yeah,
cool. That's good. That's good. Let's have a look, see what more comments we've got in here.
Just quickly, Joe. Sorry, on Phillips. Just quickly, wouldn't do you any harm to have the third Ben White playing in there against Cardiff anyway. Have an extra big lump of a defender against the way Cardiff are going to set up. So it wouldn't do you any harm for Phillips to sit out Cardiff and come back against Fulham, where it will be really appreciated anyway. It's accentuating the positive of a bad situation.
Yeah, I guess, and I think the good thing is that Ben White. I mean, for me, I don't know what you guys think. I guess I'll ask. Every time he's played in that position, initially against Huddersfield in that first game, we were all a bit like, yeah, that doesn't work. However, each time he's got better and better. And if you look at the second half against Huddersfield on Saturday, he didn't put a foot wrong. I mean, I think it was the square ball. He was on the right wing at one point doing little maze ups. You know what I mean? And this is a centre back, and he's absolutely unreal. I do think when we go up, he's going to go top 6, if I'm being totally honest. He is that good. And it'd be... I just hope QSI come in and we can just give him loads of money. But I do think he's that good. I mean, just what are your thoughts, I guess, to Benjamin? You've seen quite a bit of leagues. What are your thoughts on Ben White, I guess, this season?
It was a dead giveaway. Like I say, I was at the Bristol City game, first game of the season. And the poor guy's going to have been bombarded with billions of bits of information and patterns of play, and you're like, boop, straight in there. And I thought you'd really miss Janssen. I thought that was a big loss. And after about 20 minutes of that game, I'm like, nope. It's gone. Looking on my program, who's Ben White? That's all right. Yeah.
So everyone was worried about him and like, yeah, he's good, but where's the replacement? And
that kid has just been. I don't think we all realised how good he was going to be for us, did we? None of us realised. We didn't. I know a little bit about him. I'd seen him play for Newport against us, but never thought he could be this player that we have actually got now. He's fantastic, and he's definitely a Premier League top level Premier League centre half. Yesterday, Bielsa, I think they were talking about Ben White playing in that position. He said there's such a similarity between the centre half and a central defensive midfielder that it's not that much of a change for him to go into that position. And the more he played there, the more accustomed he could come to playing that position. There's just no difference really. It's just all about how you just manage the game yourself. And he's better. He could play there without a doubt.
Yeah. I think he's possibly a little bit ahead of his time as well, because we've seen things evolve where midfielders now are expected to score goals. Fullbacks are expected to be midfielders. And I saw Bielik for Charlton in the playoff final last year, and they took him out of central defence and put him into midfield. I think more and more going forward now, the next evolution in players will be centre halves will be expected to do what a midfield. The days of I don't know. Pick any centre half from the 80s.
Your big Teddy Butcher with his bandage round his head.
There you go. He picked an Ipswich great as well, didn't he? There you go. But yeah, your days of your kick it, head it, Neil Warnock centre half are going to be gone. So I think, yes, Mr. White will be making a lot of money over the next 10 years in the Premier League, I think.
100%. I said it on I was on the Second Tier podcast, and I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that come the next World Cup, we'll be seeing KP and Ben White both in that England setup. I genuinely believe that. I know now probably people listen, that's why I get called delusional, but I think they are that good. No, I think they are that good though, genuinely.
No joke, I don't think that's a good call. Why can't they be? They're young kids, the young lads, they're learning the trade, they're getting better and better and better every season. So when they get to 27, 28-year-old, why can't they be stable England regulars? Why can't they be?
Yeah.
There's only 3 better centre-backs in England for me, Dan Ben White, in terms of English centre-backs. Joe Gomez, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings. Genuinely being honest now.
Another Ipswich mention there, Tyrone Mings.
White doesn't make
You're spoiling me now, aren't you? Terry Butcher and Tyrone Mings within minutes. There we go.
But he doesn't make mistakes. That's the thing. We're talking about a 21, 22-year-old lad here who's played every game. How many mistakes has he made? You know, he's a centre-back. You know, all centre-backs make mistakes in this league. I've never, since probably, you've got to go back to people like Radley Ferdinand, since I've seen defenders not make as few mistakes as what Ben White has. I think he's just been an amazing player of the season for me. I think he's probably, after probably Benrahma, Pereira for West Brom, I think he's one of the Championship's best players this season in terms of consistency over the season.
I think, just while we're on, I've just seen a comment there from 563 Robbie. Brings up Harrison and how he keeps improving, and he genuinely, for the last few games, has been absolutely amazing. The only thing missing is that goal, but it's not even a case of he's fluffing his lines or anything. It's just genuinely bad luck. I mean, it's almost as if he's striking the ball too good. You know what I mean? And he's hitting, the crossbar, the post, and there's an opportunity that we can pick Jack Harrison up for $8 million in the summer. That is a steal.
All day long. All day long.
I mean, it is a steal.
It is.
I mean, what your thoughts? Obviously, Ben. I mean, we like to canvass your opinion. I mean, have you seen a lot of Jack Harrison? If you compare him to last season? A lot of us wanted shot. Shows how much we know and what Bielsa does.
I didn't get it to begin with. I was like, oh, okay, he's Man City, so he's got caliber. But it just proves that if you give Bielsa a technically good player who can follow instructions, so he's obviously fairly smart and carries out what he's done. You leave him with Bielsa for a couple of years, and look what you get in the end. I'd be very pleased if I was Jack Harrison, because it's a no lose now. He's improved so much. But I have to say, I was at your game against Derby, the Spygate game, when Jack Clark was totally incredible, and I was like, oh, why are they playing Harrison when they got this guy Clark? But yet again, Bielsa is right, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's mad because look at Jack Clark at QPR now, and the fact that we got money from him. You
pulled Spurs pants down well and truly with that one, didn't you?
Exactly. It's absolutely mental. And in the summer, I remember the likes of Wilkes, who's now gone from Barnsley to Hull. We released players. We got rid of Clark O'Dea, Tom Pearce, who's at Wigan, and we're all like, "What are you doing? These are young, talented players." And up until recently, I think Pearce's first game was Wigan against Leeds. Clark O'Dea's getting time. Halme, all these players didn't. We nothing to be worried about. Do you know what I mean?
Joe, he knew last summer that he could not sell Phillips, Hernandez, Klitsch. He knew who he didn't want to go, and if that meant Janssen going, which was a surprise, and got good money for Clark, but he knew about Phillips, Klitsch, Hernandez, that little bunch. When you get promoted, everyone will say he got that recruitment completely right. I'm going to look so stupid if you don't go up, aren't I?
Do you know what? We'll just all blame you.
Oh, Leeds fans like to blame me for bad things happening to Leeds, so don't worry about that.
What did you say, Tash?
I said he can't look as stupid as you last year.
Wouldn't be the only one.
It was. Yeah, it was mad, wasn't it? So Ian Fraser says, and I think, he says skinhead if we don't go up, Benjamin. I don't know if you'd be willing to do that. No.
I'm like Samson. I've got nothing without my hair. My entire personality and charisma is kept inside these locks. I'd be a shell of a man, honestly. No, absolutely not. I wouldn't even do it for charity.
That is a big statement.
Cut that bit out.
You'll be getting cold now, won't you?
Oh, it's going to go grey soon anyway. I'll cut it off when it goes grey, yeah?
Yeah.
Or just dye it.
So, I'll just dye it, yeah. Jason Lee asks Harry Maguire, Oscar, really? We've got Benjamin Fortnum asks Ben about his opinion on Bamford.
That's a very broad question, isn't it? Look, Bielsa loves Bamford, doesn't he? I do have conversations with Leeds fans, and I kind of jokingly ask them, how many points would you have if you had Mitrovic, who would just about be the perfect guy for what Bielsa wants. Is he wants someone who's going to play up front with his back to goal, so can do a little bit of bulldozing, but also play around the corner and whatnot. And then he wants a finisher as well. Now that person will cost you 40 or 50 million quid. Someone who's strong, back to goal, quite good, and can finish. You just wonder, though, if he did have a pure finisher and he had Nketiah there. You see how Norwich did it because Pukki wasn't big. You just wonder, do they need Bamford's physicality and shithousery that he brings? Could you play with just a finisher? Look at the goals Hogan is scoring for Birmingham at the moment. Just literally just runs in. All he does is runs in behind and shoots. You just wonder whether that guy for Leeds would score an absolute ton of goals. But far be it for any schmuck like me to question Bielsa on his kind of little football utopia thing up front. So I get why he's in the team every week.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's what Bielsa wants. It's what Bielsa sees that Bamford brings to the side. Maybe we don't see it. Yeah. We don't see Bamford scoring goals.
Jack, do you know the worst possible thing for Bamford is that you don't have a good number 8. If you had a central midfielder who got in the box and scored 15 goals every season, no one would notice Bamford. No one would notice. But obviously, Forshaw's. I mean, he's not that player, but he's not been around, and those players again are worth a lot of money. But a sort of box-to-box central midfielder who can finish. That was the hole I saw in the squad at the start of the season. Someone to sit next to Klitsch and just get in the box and finish. And he did for a while do Kemar Roof behind Bamford. And, I mean, that's a forward playing in that position. But I think if that player was there scoring 15 goals, Bamford also getting 15 goals, then
again, he tried it in Nketiah when he started for Leeds. I think he just put him on to prove a point kind of thing. Like, it ain't going to happen. Like, he was leaving anyway, and he was just kind of like, well, this is how it would play out. And we did miss Bamford in that. Bamford does a lot off of, like, apart from scoring, but he does do a lot more. It is getting midfielders to score with him, and now that they are, like we mentioned earlier, it's taking pressure off.
We've got a right back who can't stop scoring now.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? I do think, his centre-forward display on Saturday was unreal. He caused Stearman and what's his face? Schindler all sorts of trouble for me. I thought he won the free kick that ultimately he scored from. I guess I've got a question for Oscar. Another good question from Ian Fraser. He asks, if we do go up, which players would you cherry pick from non-promoted teams in the Championship? Who would you take, Oscar?
First one I'm going to start off with is, I mentioned him a lot, fantastic player at this level, Said Benrahma. If Brentford don't go up, I think he's that kind of winger. Just that, he's got that personality I like about him. He'll drop deep, drive with the ball, bit Saiz-esque, but with an end product. That's the main thing for me. Obviously, he's got to be one. The second one has got to be Mitrovic. We've already mentioned him. It's got to be Mitrovic. He just brings that all the elements, as Ben's mentioned, he has all the elements of his game that Bielsa wants. Obviously, Bamford from our current squad is the closest to that because goals will never be enough for Marcelo Bielsa. Goals alone will never, ever be enough for him. He needs the other elements as well because if you go back to his time at Argentina, he had Hernan Crespo, Batistuta, probably the two best centre forwards of that era. He only ever played one. Crespo out the team. Crespo was scoring goal after goal after goal from Milan. He was an absolute one of the best strikers in the world. Left him on the bench. Got a lot of criticism for that, but goals will never ever be enough for just Bielsa. Whether that's right or wrong, but it's just the system will always take precedent over, just goals themselves. So that's going to be absolutely critical for me. Another striker, and then probably the third one. I'm going to go for David Raya from Brentford as well, goalkeeper. I think he's absolutely solid. David Raya played for my local club Southport. He's a bit of a hero in our part, to be fair. Got us on the cup run a couple of years back. Really like the fella, to be fair. Big character, really, really big character. Great guy. Scouser as well, so he's always been more popular with me. But no, he's good. That's probably the three I'd look at, to be fair, off the top of my head.
And what about you, Ben?
Oh,
who do you think would add? I guess.
Well, there's a difference between who you'd want, and I echo all the names that Oscar said. I just can't see Leeds having been so good with money the last few, because Ben Rama is going to cost you 25 million straight away, etc. Those fees. I've got the table in front of me without boring you senseless. If I just were to scroll down, I mean, Brentford, you could pick off about 6 or 7. Someone like Jean-Vier, one of the centre backs, maybe. You don't even have a left back. So Rico Henry, the Brentford left back. Forest, I like Joe Worrell, the centre half. Preston, Ben Pearson would be good from Preston. Bristol City, Millwall, Jed Wallace, nah. Blackburn, I like Lewis Travis, good midfielder there. Swansea, Matt Grimes would be really good for Leeds.
He's been here before. No
yeah. And then QPR, you've got the three Eze, Chair, and Samuel, but again, they're going to cost a fortune. I tell you who'd be good as well. We're talking about number 10, number 8, John Swift from Reading, and fit in that spot. But I have a feeling you'll be bringing in some South Americans who we've never heard of, who are probably brilliant already. And I'm sure the list is already written and it's all planned out. So whether you will be back to the Championship, who knows? That was a joke about Grimes, by the way.
we know now.
See, I didn't. Johnny J, again, another super chat. I won't try. He says, I guess you're reading this, Oscar.
He's partly right.
I can't see these. This is very frustrating.
It basically says Oscar is on hard drugs. Brentford's keeper is Casilla-esque in terms of errors. How about Tom Kearney, Joe Lolly? And then he says Grimes' mum would be good. Yeah, okay.
She's not Leeds' favourite supporter, is she, Matt Grimes?
No. Of course, guys, we mustn't forget, I think, when we do go in the Prem, I still think Bamford probably leads the line, genuinely. But yeah, I think, we've still got JKA there. Does that become perm? Although we've not seen much of him, there's an obligation to buy. He's got bags of talent. I know we've not seen it, but he's still there. You've obviously got Paveda there as well, who was once at Brentford City. He's got bags of talent. It just seems to take a little bit of time to fully commit and fully get ingrained into Bielsa's style of play. We've seen that because if you remember, the likes of Dallas didn't see much of him early parts of last season. Came into it, I think it was Villa, it might have been Derby. It was unreal and he's just continued. Jack Harrison's got better. KP is unreal, Cooper. He just makes everyone better. And these, we've got a lot of youth there as well, of course, the likes of Gotts, Jordan Stevens. Gotts had a great game against Arsenal in the FA Cup. So the future's bright on that respect as well. And I do think you know, they won't be wholesale changed if we were to go up.
Joe, if I can just come in, we've obviously missed a trick with our answers, because when people were talking about Villa this year, and they said, "Oh, Villa have spent a fortune," I was like, "No, they haven't, because Mings was on loan, Tuan Zabi was on loan, and Abraham was on loan. So you've got to replace a 20 million quid centre half if you go up. So maybe the priority is where's the new Ben White coming from, and like you say, if he's going to go and play Premier League, he's Brighton, isn't he? So he either goes into the Brighton team or Liverpool were interested, which you would think would be attractive, wouldn't you? So you're gonna need a very good centre half in there to even just be as good as you were this year.
Well, it's right what you're saying there, Benjamin. Is, you know, we're talking about Ben White being with us next year. There's no guarantee of that even happening. Yeah. Brighton might say, "Oh, we want him back. We're going to keep him." Whether Brighton get relegated, Brighton stay up, I don't know. But Brighton might just say, "No, we're not going to sell him to you." Liverpool could come in with an offer of 40 million that we cannot compete with, and wages, everything. We just don't know. You know, we're all sort of expecting that we're going to go up and keep these players, but we don't know that. There's still a lot of work to be done. You know, for us as a club, for just us as everything. At the minute, you know, we're not. It's just, I don't know. I'm just still like that about even the players that we've got. Even KP, we could get promoted. And you just don't know. Someone could come in with this massive offer for KP, and he could just go.
Yeah, he's already done his thing.
You know, we just don't know. It's a funny game, is football, and I don't think there's.
I think if you do go up, though, I think he'll play Ayling. I think he'll play Cooper. I think he'll play Phillips. I think he'll play Klitsch. There's a few I think he's going to stay completely loyal to and say. Yeah. You can see them even when you go through, and you see that Klitsch has played nearly every minute. Harrison's played nearly every minute, hasn't he? I think those guys will all get a good go. I don't think you have to worry about him changing it massively.
Yeah.
You know,
I think just on Mateus Click as well. It's actually he's broke the record, Ben, for most consecutive games for Leeds. I think he's on 84 now. Is it 84?
I thought it was 87 or something.
Yeah, it could be. It could have been 84 when he was about to break the record. I mean, it's mental, isn't it? It is genuinely mental. I think we've done an hour, guys. Obviously, we don't want to ramble on too long. Has anyone got anything lastly they'd like to add just before we let Ben plug his stuff? Tash, Jack,
if we have coronavirus, right? And it
okay, bit left field.
He's gone.
He's clearly got it. I'm gonna have to play behind closed doors, like everyone's saying. Would that be a favour or not?
I would get into Ellen Road regardless. I'd be trying to. I mean, that is something that we have to consider, I guess. Imagine. Can you imagine promotion behind closed doors? Oh no, I've dreamt of this. Yeah, exactly. Please don't take this moment away from me.
That is typical Liz.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. I never thought about that. But yeah.
That's some thought, that.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. What if this actually does that from what we're
looking
at? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so anything non like virusy kind of questions? Oscar, anything to add?
In terms of signings, we're going to add one name. They were from I'm not sure if this is my heart or head. This a bit of both. I'm going to mention his name. Who I'd love to see come back here if we did go up, and assuming they went down. So it looks like their team's going down. Mention Lewis Cook going back to play under Marcelo Bielsa. What would you guys think to that?
Where would you
bit left field?
Well, I mean, when you look at it, Pablo's getting a bit old now, isn't he? You know, Pablo's come to the end of his career. He could be a good shot in there. I wouldn't put him in front of Klitsch because Klitsch does he plays a different kind of game. But I think he could do a Pablo role. Yeah, Lewis, I do.
I love Lewis. I mean, during that dark period. You know what I mean? He was a shining light, weren't he? He was just so good on the ball.
What you on about?
Oh, yeah.
Like a team James Milner mentioned, and for me, if I had a choice between the two, genuinely would now. If I had a choice between the two, I'd take Cook purely for his age and the fact of what I think Bielsa could do with Lewis Cook. In terms of, for me, in terms of if he could bring anyone back, that would be the player.
Cool. I mean, James Milner for me, but there. I love Milner. But yeah, guys, just before we do go, of course, thank you everyone for joining us. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and of course check Ben's stuff out. I don't know where I'm pointing. Am I right doing it there? Or?
Down there. Down there.
No, you're doing it.
That way.
Yeah. But Ben, I mean, you all know Ben anyway. He puts out some great stuff. We've had quite a lot of people watching tonight, and a lot of that's down to Ben being in. So Ben, I'll give you a couple of moments just to shout about your gear, your stuff. Yeah.
I've just spent the last 2 minutes thinking, would Leeds have won the playoff semi-final against Derby if it had been behind closed doors? And my brain's been, hey, do you know what I mean? My brain's been going, all you mad Leeds fans causing all this tension. Maybe you'd already be up if that had been. But you should all get together and say, playoff semi, right? No one goes. We're just going to play at an empty stadium and we'll be fine. No, and just quickly, you were talking about Bielsa's greatest achievement. Before Bielsa came, I believe Leeds finished 13th, one place below Ipswich, who are now 10th in League One, and you're on the verges of the Premier League. And I think just when you look at just the transformation of someone, he's barely even signed anyone, has he? The transformation of the players, it would be a hell of an achievement, up there with. You won't want to hear it, but Wilder from League One straight through is amazing. This would be sort of around there. But yes, lots of Championship stuff on my channel. I will dearly miss you guys if you go up, but it will be richly deserved after the last 2 years. So hang on in there. I am intending to be at the Blackburn game. And I do have a ticket for the Derby game. I'd like to inform all Leeds fans that the Benjamin Bloom curse is done now. I've witnessed a draw at Brentford, and I've witnessed a 4-0 win at Hull. So that's done. And you've got no more games in London. It was always a London curse, not a me curse, wasn't it? So that's all done. But please, for the remainder of the season, hit subscribe, ring the bell on YouTube, do reviews and previews every week, and I should be at a couple more Leeds games before what we think is going to happen, and you're all gonna disappear. But stay subscribed, because you never know, you might be back one day. Yeah. But yeah, Twitter at Benjamin Bloom, Instagram Benjamin Bloom, and come say hi. And honestly, it's an absolute pleasure. It's a mad. There's no other club like it, and any YouTuber would admit. You guys will know. Even say the word Leeds, and your views go up 20%. Don't know. So it's mad. The fans are lovely. They all stop me and say hello, and it's all good natured. The curse stuff and whatnot, and you will be sorely missed. But a credit to the Premier League if you do get up there, and if you don't go up, we'll have some more fun next season, hey?
Well, you Ben, I got a little bit emotional there.
Oh, there you go.
No one spoke about us like that before, have they?
No,
it's a one-off. It's a one-off, isn't it? A very unique club, let's just say.
Yeah. Great stuff. Well, thank you ever so much. I mean, there's been loads of love in the comments for you, mate. And like you say, please do check him out. I've got you on Instagram and stuff, and I always love the songs and stuff that you do. He's got a lovely voice, as Ben, so make sure you check him out. And you do a lot of football stuff, though, football songs as well, right? Which is really good. But,
check out my Bielsa song as well. Yes.
Sorry?
There's a Bielsa song on the YouTube. If you're a Leeds fan, just go to my YouTube, and there's a beautiful song about your wonderful manager.
There you go, then. Get it done. And I think we'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone that has tuned in. of course, coming week, we have Cardiff Sunday, so we'll have your pre-matches leading up to that. And then, of course, post-match. And again, Sunday Night Live, we might do a joint review of the game.
We've got tickets.
Oh, yeah, Dan, sorry. I almost forgot. But I have actually found a comment, okay? And to be fair, he put a super chat in. He asked lots of questions. So, Ian Fraser, you are the winner. Reason being is it just made me laugh because it said, and we'll leave on this, who's got the best hair, Aileen or Benjamin Bloom?
What about Tash?
It's not mine.
Hers is all extensions, man.
Extensions in there. Boo.
She's a skinhead. She's a skinhead.
Yeah.
Sinead O'Connor, yeah?
But yeah, so Ian Fraser, please get in touch on social media. You've won them 2 tickets for the Centenary show with Paul Wilson and the Centenary Wives. And of course, who has got the best hair? For me, Luke Aileen, all day. Sorry, Ben.
That.
Has Aileen got an undercut?
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah. I don't think but we'll give it to Aileen.
It's just nice seeing it blow.
Very long, isn't it?
I thought he was going to be running at Cheltenham on Tuesday in fucking Champions League.
He does it on purpose, though. In most games, he kind of very provocatively goes up to the away stand and undoes it. I think he likes the banter, doesn't he?
But yeah, guys, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you, Oscar, if you want to end that. And thank
See
you
you later, guys.
Make sure you check out Benjamin.
See ya.
See you later, guys.
Guys, take care.
Bye.
All do. Still live, Oscar.